Hey everybody, okay, so I'm going to show you guys the reason why everybody here in Oklahoma puts me down as the Tulsa's only Marilyn Manson impersonator. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get into that. I'm going to put my hair into a bald cap, which is what I have right here. And I've been doing bald caps for a little bit now because I like the idea of doing bald, because there is some forms of Marilyn Manson where he was bald, but primarily he does have hair on his head. However, for me though, everybody knows that I am long blonde and I have long blonde hair. So to take the long blonde hair away builds more towards the illusion as looking like Marilyn Manson. So the items that I'm going to be using for that is obviously hairspray, 2 ponytail holders. I'm going to be using a wig cap to hold all my hair into place, and a giant thing of bobby pins. And of course latex as well. This right here is latex. If some of you guys are allergic to latex, don't use that. I will try to find something else that's latex free and put it down in the description for you guys. This bald cap is latex as well. I'll try to find something else that I can put down in the description for you if you are allergic to latex. And then I also have 2 forms of hairbrushes. The first one that I'm going to be using is a paddle brush to separate my hair. And then I'm going to be using this to smooth out the edges, so whenever I glue down the bald cap to my head, it's not going to be gluing my hair into the bald cap. However, latex wouldn't be really that hard to get out of your hair, but if you've ever had glue-in extensions, it's a pain to get them out. So latex as well would also be a pain to get latex out of your hair, especially if you get a whole lot of it in your hair. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm first going to start off with separating my hair. However, I know it looks really ridiculous right now, but bear with me. And we're not going to be doing like a Harley Quinn moment. However, I really wanted to do that this year for Halloween, but I just didn't though. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paddle brush and I'm going to brush this upwards, and then I'm going to just basically fold it on top of the other side and over and around, and make sure you have some bobby pins out, like I was totally not prepared for, and then just start bobby pinning that hair down. Okay, so next up we're going to go ahead and do the same with the other side of the hair, and this is when things can get a little tricky, so just bear with me, because then once we get the actual wig cap on, then that's when we're going to take all these bobby pins out, and then the wig cap is going to hold it in place, and then we're going to take and put this on top of the wig cap. Okay, so now that we have that done, what we're going to do is we're going to take and put our wig cap and put this on top of our hair to lock everything into place, and then we're going to smooth out the edges with a little bit of hairspray and shove everything back. Okay, so now that I have assistants standing behind me, which is my grandmother, the best thing to do is hold the front end of the wig cap on your forehead and have your assistant take and pull the back up and over your hair, trying not to touch any of the bobby pins.
It's your weekly routine that bothers me. Before you hurt yourself, just leave.
Okay, so now that the bald cap is on, it really doesn't matter if you see this part right up here on top of the bald cap. What we're going to do is we're going to pull that up as high as we can, and then we're going to pull that forward, and then we're going to secure it in place with a bobby pin. And then we're going to take the extra and pull it back, and then secure that once again with another bobby pin. And of course do the same on the opposite side of it, and then you can start taking and releasing some of the bobby pins actually in your hair. You will actually have to fill around for them, of course. And so of course in the actual bald cap itself, you're going to see that you're going to have like all your hair right back here. However, with that being there, that's fine, because the bald cap itself is actually going to smush all that down whenever you have it secured. So I will be right back and we will go ahead and demonstrate how to do that. Hey everybody, okay, so now I'm back and I did a little closer ups for you guys. So I'm gonna take and start off by using my bald cap, and it looks like this. And it has one side where it's got this part, so that way basically it tells you that that's the front. However, these bald caps are made actually like 2 sizes bigger, so you have to cut it down, and I would say a pair of nice small scissors would work, especially since you're working around the face and around the ears. And I will show you how to cut around the ears so that way you're not like gonna accidentally like hurt yourself or something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have my mom come in back behind me and everything, and she's gonna help me put this on over this without this this wig cap actually falling off and everything. So like I said before, with the original, like putting on the wig cap, hold down the front, make sure it's placed on your forehead, and everything, make sure it's even, because once this thing's on, it's not going nowhere. So make sure it's even to your forehead and wherever you want it to be placed, and then have somebody pull the back up and over without touching anything. Okay, so mom, so we're gonna place it on, and it's gonna look real funny at first. Okay, so grab the front end of the cap, pull it up and over. I've got my hands on it. Keep pulling, keep pulling. Okay, now pull down. And there we go. Okay. And you may see that, oh, it sounds funny. It sounds like I'm in a can. Okay. So it may look, ow. Okay, I'm getting a little hair pullage. Hey man, what's up? Anyways, so I'm gonna take and cut around the excess real quick, and yeah. So, and I have a mirror sitting next to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
All the things that I could be, this is the end of you. After all that we've been through, this ain't the end of me.
So I'm just going to cut around the excesses. Yeah. So, and it's a little hard doing it opposite-handed, but just bear with me, you'll get it done. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to be worrying about how the ears look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this excess off, and I'm going to go aroundwards like that. So just downwards and around. Okay. There we go. And then what we're gonna do is with the ears, this is where things get a little tricky, because most people don't understand how this works. So if the top end of your ear is right here, which is, this is where my ear is, up here, I'm going to cut just a little bit below where the top end of my ear is, so that way whenever my ear pops out, the back end of this will fold down completely behind my ear, so that way you'll have enough excess to cut. If you cut too far up, you're gonna expose the wig cap and everything else behind that. So I'm just going to cut upwards. And then just make sure you grab both of these with both fingers, just like that. And then make sure to not cut your ear. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to see how that looks when I fold out the ear. And then you can see how that folds behind. Now this right here might get a little irritating, because it's going to leave pressure right here on the top of your ear, and you don't want that. Let's see. Okay, and now it fits just the way that it should, and then that way you have excess back here behind the actual ear. Okay, so both sides are done, and I leave a large amount of excess here because I'm going to be covering everything in white body paint anyways. So like honestly, this right here is not going to be seen. Plus I'm going to be wearing a hat, so most of the bulge up here from my hair is going to be covered. And I do have some latex right here that I'm actually going to go in with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to go ahead and apply it here first, and then I'm going to apply right here, and then let that adhere, and then we're going to start working on the back end of the head.
This ain't the end of me. All the things that I could be, this is the end of
Word of advice. If you are ever doing something like this and it's for a performance, make sure you have extras. And the reason I say that is because this can happen. Latex is very unforgiving. Once you cut it, it can continue to rip. Oh, by the way, yeah, my mom had a good idea. If you have extra pieces left over from cutting, you can patch it. Okay, so now that that's down like that, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on gluing the sides. And I like to pull down just slightly taut, and then I'll take the excess latex and run it on over just a little bit. That way it sears the edges in. And this latex does dry clear, so that way, just so you know. And patience is key with this part, so I will be right back to go ahead and do the other side and patch it. Okay, so as if you noticed, one side's flat and the other side isn't flat. By the way, I also took a little bit of the latex and ran over the outside seam to adhere it just a little bit more. I'm trying to focus on the camera and not on my viewfinder because I'm trying to make sure, like I said, OCD in my last video. Okay, so what me and my mom are going to try to do and attempt to do is we're going to take some of my leftover pieces that I have from whenever I was cutting the latex off, and I'm going to try to patch this as much as possible. So wish me luck, but I'm pretty sure you guys will see this video way after the show. But anyways, you guys wish me luck. Okay, so now my mom is gluing down the back end of my bald cap. However, I can't really get footage of that because of the position that I'm in and stuff, so I have to be trusting with her to apply the latex. However, do you see the wrinkles that are right up here on top of my head in the bald cap? That right there will actually be fixed here in a minute because you have to pull the back end of the bald cap taut, which in other words tight, slightly, not too much, or the latex will pop like we experienced right there. And then after the back is glued down, then we're going to take and work on patching that part right there, which theoretically it should work. I just don't know if latex is going to adhere to latex without body heat to cure the latex, which is what I'm holding in my hand right now. So it honestly, it just kind of like depends on the scenario. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back end of the bald cap just like this, and I'm going to pull downwards, getting rid of those wrinkles in the back of my head, and then pull forward with your hands, and then just squish that down, and then just make sure that you hold it in place to make sure that it's dried. The back end of the head is honestly the hardest part in this process. You have to know where it's at, and that's when having an assistant or somebody to help you do it. Because I see a lot of people doing bald caps on YouTube, but they don't necessarily go into detail at all. Like, I had to learn to do all this on my own. Okay, so now what we're going to do is with my hand, I'm going to hold down where it's glued on, and I'm going to hand the scissors to my mom because since she is a trained cosmetologist, hairdresser, I can trust her doing this. Just cut off the excess where it's not glued. And you don't have to get as close as possible to where you've glued it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the latex and we're going to go over the seam to basically hold it all down. Okay, so while that's glued down, we're going to take the latex and we're going to run over the seam to adhere it to the rest of the skin. Okay, so now that we have the bald cap nicely applied, what we're going to be doing is next is applying what's the main portion of the face, which is a lot of white face paint. And I'm going to be using this right here, and it's really dirty because I've had this for some time. And I'm going to be using Clown White by Ben9. And then of course I'm gonna take a sponge. It's kind of like a makeup sponge. Actually, it's not a makeup sponge. It's actually something that you wash your dishes with. But these actually my grandmother gave me, and she thought that I could use them. So actually they work really, really well, especially for applying this, because it's a very dense white clown makeup. And so with this, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, now as you can tell, I look like a complete white ghost, but that's the point until we get the rest of everything else put on and collected and put together, and then we can start working into all that. However, now that my hands have white paint all over them, I'm gonna go wash my hands, and I'm like terrified to touch my camera remote. Okay, so now my mom is doing the back end of my head because I can't get to it and stuff, and then after this I have to powder everything, which is also with a it's super white benign powder by Benign. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with that benign white that I just talked about and my powder puff, and I'm gonna go ahead and like powder my face and whatnot, and then go ahead and set all of this clown white. Word of advice, if you ever have this stuff on and somebody gives you a hug and they have a black shirt, don't give them a hug, especially with your chin, because you're just asking to leave a white spot. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the eyes by using these shades right here by NYX Cosmetics. And yes, I am using matte to liquid lipsticks to take into my eye makeup today. So first, starting off with is the lightest shade that I'm going to go in with. And I absolutely love this shade. When I was in Tahlequah, I used it out there for my eye makeup and stuff. And I'm also going to go in with my Vanity Planet makeup brush palette. And I'm going to take and use that to go ahead and do my eye makeup and stuff for this. Okay, so next up I'm going to go with this lightest shade right here of Purple by NYX as well, and I'm going to go ahead and layer that on top and blend it out just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go in with this darker shade, also by NYX as well, and I'm going to take and use that to make the eye design just a little bit deeper. Okay, now that that's done, just let that sit and dry for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so while the eyes are still drying, we're going to jump in and go ahead and do the lips. I'm going to start off with Kat Von D's black matte liquid lipstick, and I'm going to use my angled brush, also from the VP Wild Planet Vanity makeup palette, brush palette. I'm going to take some of this, brush it off on the back end of my hand, and then we're going to start doing the lips. How Manson does his lips in a lot of his videos, to obviously look a little weird and to be noticed on stage just a little bit more, he overdraws his lips extremely large, and more like, and not so much in public, but like for stage purposes. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, you can obviously tell I have my lines built out. Now I'm just going to connect the dots, basically. Okay, so now that I have that built up, I'm going to go back in with my Kat Von D, and I'm going to take and build in just a little bit of black, and then I'm going to use some deep red and bright reds for the center of the lip. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this really, really rich red by NYX as well, and go ahead and put in just a little bit of that. Okay, now I have this brighter red that I'm going to take and use. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of the black and go over some of the areas up here. Okay, so now that I have that looking the way that I want it to, I'm going to go ahead and move on up towards the eye area. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of Carbon Black eyeshadow by MAC Cosmetics, and I'm going to go ahead and work that into the corner of the eyes to make it just a little bit more interesting.
This ain't the end of me, all the things that I could
Okay, so now that we're done doing that, which is very grungy and crazy looking, we're going to take and go off with our mascara. And I'm going to use my Star Wars mascara by CoverGirl. Okay, I'm not going to do my bottom lashes on mascara just yet because I want to be able to put in my eye contacts first before I take and do the mascara and all that. Okay, so now that both of my eye contacts are put in, I'm going to take my mascara and go ahead and do the bottom part of my eyes on my mascara. So next up would basically be to get dressed and stuff like that, and oh, I almost forgot. Yeah, so next up would be to get dressed and stuff. I usually don't do any kind of form of contouring with this because the main focal points of this entire ensemble would of course be the outfits and the eyes and the mouth. Everything else kind of just like is there. It's there, but it's not there because it's not what people focus on the most. Because when Manson does his eye makeup, he wants it to be very grotesque, very Lestrange, like very off, so that way people are very like focused in on what his makeup is like, and then they look at his clothing and stuff like that. So, and a big portion of his makeup is to basically offset how society puts pressure on women, even men, to look good all the time. So by me taking and doing this, it's kind of like my release of being like, I'm not going to be pretty all the time for everybody because I have nobody else to impress besides myself and to be happy with myself. So in a way, you know, Manson's music speaks to me on not only just being self-expression and being who you are and being happy with who you are, but his form of makeup is the reason why I got into doing drag in the first place, because his makeup is very unique compared to a lot of other people's makeup and stuff. But for the most part though, like I've been listening to Manson's music since I was young, so Mr. Brian Warner. So yeah, if there is like ever a chance that if you guys have any questions or concerns about this makeup look or anything that I have done in this video, please leave a comment down below. I review all the comments whenever they start coming in anyway, so I pretty much see every single one of them. I do try my best to take and reply, but I never ever actually have the chance to. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to take and see you guys pretty soon. I will be in Dallas, Texas this weekend, so yeah. Anyways, I love you guys, and I will see you guys later.